Avian flu has wiped out 50.54 million birds in the United States this year, making it the country's deadliest outbreak in U.S. history. The deaths of chickens, turkeys, and other birds represent the worst U.S. animal health disaster to date, topping the previous record of 50.5 million birds that died in an avian flu outbreak in 2015. So, in this video, we're going to discuss what is avian flu and why it wiped out 50.54 million U.S. birds. The video is going to be amazing, so make sure you stick to the end. Before starting the video though, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. The U.S. outbreak, which began in February, infected flocks of poultry and non-poultry birds across 46 states, USDA data show. Wild birds like ducks transmit the virus, known as highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, through their feces, feathers, or direct contact with poultry. Bird flu is a disease caused by infection with avian influenza type A viruses. The disease has a global presence among wild aquatic birds, with infections also occurring in domestic poultry and other birds and animal species. While bird flu is not typically a zoonotic disease, there have been sporadic human infections with bird flu viruses in the past, with the disease being spread through close contact with an infected bird. Birds often die after becoming infected. Entire flocks, which can top 1 million birds at egg-laying chicken farms, are also culled to control the spread of the disease after a bird tests positive. Losses of poultry flocks sent prices for eggs and turkey meat to record highs, worsening economic pain for consumers facing red-hot inflation and making Thursday's Thanksgiving celebrations more expensive in the United States. Wild birds continue to spread HPAI throughout the country as they migrate, so preventing contact between domestic flocks and wild birds is critical to protecting U.S. poultry, said Rosemary Sifford, the USDA's chief veterinary officer. Bird flu has currently been detected at over 150 sites across the UK. The main method to control the disease involves the isolation and culling of infected poultry. Global data expects that as the outbreak continues to progress, the culling and safe disposal of infected birds and poultry will be required at a large scale to mitigate the spread of disease. One particular challenge that relies on community reporting is to ensure that the carcasses of infected wild birds are swiftly removed from local waterways. These measures should be well supported by biosecurity strategies from public health authorities. Last year, the Department for Environment, Food, and Rural Affairs (DEFRA) implemented a housing order that legally required bird keepers in the UK to comply with stringent biosecurity measures and keep their flocks indoors. Farmers struggled to keep the disease and wild birds out of their barns after increasing security and cleaning measures following the 2015 outbreak. In 2015, about 30% of the cases were traced directly to wild bird origins, compared to 85% this year, the USDA told Reuters. Government officials are studying infections at turkey farms in particular in hopes of developing new recommendations for preventing infections. Turkey farms account for more than 70% of the commercial poultry farms infected in the outbreak, the USDA said. People should avoid unprotected contact with birds that look sick or have died. Though the outbreak poses a low risk to the general public, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said Europe and Britain are also suffering the worst avian flu crisis, and some British supermarkets rationed customers' egg purchases after the outbreak disrupted supplies. With transmission being of a seasonal nature, the first cases of avian influenza in Europe typically emerge in the late autumn. The seasonality of the disease mirrors that of human influenza, for which case numbers also typically rise over the autumn and winter. According to Global Data's forecast, over 1,100,000 incident cases of lab-confirmed influenza are expected in the 5 major European markets: UK, France, Germany, Spain, and Italy in 2022. However, mitigation measures used for COVID-19 have had a significant impact on the epidemiology of influenza. Non-pharmaceutical interventions, such as mask wearing, lockdowns, and school closures combined with reduced laboratory surveillance, have resulted in very low case numbers of human influenza over the course of the pandemic. Human infections of bird flu are typically acquired through direct contact with infected animals or sustained exposure to contaminated environments. Human-to-human transmission is very rare, as the viruses have not acquired the ability for sustained transmission among humans. However, researchers have warned of the potential for some strains of bird flu to mutate and become transmissible among humans. According to the UK Health and Security Agency, the public health risk of bird flu for humans is very low. The Food Standards Agency has stated that bird flu poses a very low food safety risk for UK consumers. as properly cooked poultry and poultry products are safe to eat. In patients infected with bird flu, the severity of the disease can vary. For avian influenza AH7N7 and AH9N2 infections, the symptoms are typically mild, with very few human fatalities recorded. For avian influenza AH5 or AH7N9 infections, the disease can be aggressive. Initial symptoms include upper respiratory infections, such as high fever and cold, and later lower respiratory infections, such as difficulty breathing. Complications can include severe pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome, secondary bacterial and fungal infections, shock, and even death. The case fatality rate among humans for these strains of bird flu is much higher than that of seasonal flu infections. Let us know your opinion in the comment section below. This was all for today. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.